Hi, my name is Jackson, and I'll be taking guys through a course on how to write a GraphQL application for your REST API. So when it comes to GraphQL, it's very useful because you actually select the information that you want from an API, which means it can be used by many platforms but retains different types of data instead of you going and rewriting multiple APIs. You just need to write the structure of the data that is being received and the procedures, then you get your information. So for a start, we're going to set up our project, and I'll be putting these projects into short videos. I'll I think I will do like 15 minutes of each video. So today we're actually going to do only the setup of the project. All right, so I'll be using VS Code as my IDE for this process. So let's get started. So I'm going to go into my desktop, and I'm going to make a directory. So we're going to try and make a REST API application for a school. So we'll definitely change the scope as we go, but as it stands right now, I'm thinking that we should just try and create a student that is being registered. So we're going to have a database that is going to have a student only. All right, so we're going to make a directory called school. We're gonna call this project school. Excuse me. Now, if you go into school, we're going to do. I'm guessing you already know how to set up your computer for the npm packages. So on mine, I have already set up npm. Uh, I've already set up npm, and yeah. But I'll put in the description below the links on how to do it on Windows and on Linux, and Mac, also on a Mac. You have the information and the links to how the procedure of installing npm. So we're going to do an npm init, right? So we're going to this package name. I'm gonna call it school. This is version 1. Description, school application. Entry point, we're going to leave it with index.js, but I think we're going to change things as we go. It will allow us to play around with our app.js with our package.json, which gives us a bit more sense of what's really happening. So we're gonna leave like that. Test commands. So towards the end of this short course, I'm actually going to try and do a little bit of testing. So hang in there for that one. Our Git repository, I haven't created one, but I'm going to link one to this one. Then after every video, I'm going to do a commit, and you have the description of the Git repository on in the description below. So you can always see after every video what we did. As you know how Git works. You're going to add more code, and you're going to end up with the final one, but you can always check out to whatever lesson that we were doing. All right, we don't have any keywords. Author, so that will be me. We're gonna leave this one. So we're gonna have our package.json like that. So I'm going to open our school project. So this is our school project, right? And we have package.json. I'm not going to go really deep into which package. I'm not going to explain all the packages that you need to build this, but I will have in the description as well all the packages that you might need. Yeah, all the packages that you might need to fit. I'm just going to have it in one line. So we're going to be using yarn. It's the same as. Alright, so now I'm just gonna talk a little bit about the libraries that we're going to be using. I'm not going to dive deep into the actual details of each and every one of each and every one of them, but these are going to be the libraries that are core to what we'll be doing. So we have Babel that is used for loading libraries, and it makes life way easier. And yeah, then we have Express. We have Express as our server that we're going to be displaying. We're going to be testing the code that we'll be writing. We are going to be using a MySQL database. It has been done in Postgres. I've been struggling to get a MySQL specific video. That's why I decided to do this course. But I will put a link in the description below to actually help with Postgres people. NodeMon, it's going to be used to actually run our application as well as npm run all. It sort of tries to run things in parallel. Sequalize is going to be the library we are going to be using to connect the MySQL database and the GraphQL, the JavaScript GraphQL code that we're going to be writing. And Webpack is going to be used for our testing. Alright, so I'm going to add all this into one line. So I'm going to do a yarn add, and it's actually going to include all the libraries we need. I'm going to pause until it's done adding all the libraries, but it looks like it's quite fast. Yeah, it's almost done, so we'll just wait for it. All right, now in our scripts we need a script that's going to start the the, the code that we'll be working with. So I have these scripts. I'm going to publish a Git repository that you can copy this information from, where the package.json is not going to change a lot, so there is not much you need to worry about here. Now, as I said, we are going to be structuring our project today. So for me, but it's different for everyone, I prefer having all my code in all the code that I'm going to write inside an app folder, right? And also we are so all the code that we're going to be creating, all the objects are going to be inside the folder app. But so here's how it's going to work. You're going to have JavaScript files that are going to be used to define what a table looks like, and what are the data types, and how everything is actually linked when it comes to foreign keys. So now we are going to run a query sequalize. Before I run this, so everything will be inside we're going to call like the structure of each table models, right? That's what we're going to call it. So if we write sequalize init, it actually, oh sorry, sequalize init. It's actually going to create a few folders for us, right? So we have our config. Our config, it's about the environment that you're working with. So we are going to call our database school, and it uses the username root. I'm going to use root without a password, and the dialect that we're using, it's actually mysql. Just take note, in the future, in the future in the future versions of sequalize, these operation aliases are going to be removed, but it won't affect anything that you'll be working on right now. All right, now, so this is the structure of our config, and we are going to be working with develop. Now, as we said, like, we are going to have models, right? You're going to have models, but these models have to be accessed by a database script that's going to be extracting the information and managing the structure of the tables. So when you run the sequalize init, what it actually did was, inside models, this index, it actually created something for us to work with, but something that is going to be handling this information is not too static, so I would prefer having it inside app, but you can put it wherever you're comfortable, right? I'm going to move it into app, into the root folder of app. So these models, I'm going to remove this model, right, and actually create a new folder here called models, right? So for example, as I said in the beginning, we're going to be looking at a student, creating a student object. So inside the model, we can call it I'm going to call it student for convenience, but you can use the the tbl underscore student or whatever. You can name it whatever you want, as long as it is descriptive to you, .js. But you need to take note, the way you name it, the way you name the file is going to affect how it is written in the code. So that will be in the next video. Now if you go into index, what this is trying to do is trying to set up your configuration files, right? So I'm going to remove this, and all right, I need my config files, my config file. I need config.json. So that's where I'm getting my config.json. I'm going to change a little bit of this code to some of the code that I've written before, so that you don't get confused as to like what's happening, because it's too bundled up together. So I will take you step by step as to how you can write this in a more understandable way. I have a project that I was practicing on inside my app, in my database.json. So I'm going to copy this. I'm going to copy this, and I'll explain what's happening. I'm going to paste my I'm sorry. I'm going to copy. Where's copy? There we go. I'm going to copy this, and I'm going to paste it in here. I don't know what's happening. Alright, I'm going to open with Sublime Text, and I'm going to copy the actual text. Right. So it's the same at the top here. and the DBR is still the same. It's still the same when it comes to these configurations, but in here you need to specify which host are you using, which port is SQL. Usually SQL runs on 3306, but you might have given it different settings, but then you have your dialect. I'm using mysql. Right, so we need to create like models from the database structure, from the database structures inside the models. So what it is doing is it reads the files in the models, it reads the files in the models there, right? Then it checks if it is a JS file. By let's say by any mistake you actually put a file which is not a JavaScript file, so this will handle that in the checking. Then you need to push inside models. Then when you iterate through those models, the names, it actually here it starts creating the model, the sequalize model with extra function that sequalize can use. Then in here, this piece of code, it's used for foreign keys. It's used for foreign keys. I wrote this quite a long time ago, so and it works. It works quite well, and you'll see how good it is, because um, some associations between tables are actually written as associations in in the JavaScript objects, but in some cases you use references. So if you are using this piece of code, looks for the references, not the associations. So you can work with both, but I've always used references, so I will be taking you guys through a reference structure. Then you export your database. So there we go, that's done. All right, I don't want to write too much code right now, so I am going to show you some. Okay, you need your Babel RC in your root folder. Yeah, you need it here. So I'm going to create a .babel RC. I'm going to create a .babel RC, and I'm going to copy the information in here. Let me just there we go. So it's just setting preset by the latest preset that you get from npm. So I'm just going to paste it in here. Now one last thing that you need to set up, it's your webpack configuration. Open for that. I'll show you where you need to change. Kind of tired, guys, I won't lie. It's 1 o'clock in the morning, and this is my first ever video on YouTube, so bear with me. And if you have any questions, just put your comments in the comment section and I'll take a look at them and I'll get back to you guys. All right, so in here the only thing that you need to change is the entry point, right? It's your entry point. So for us it's going to be app and index.js, so we already have that file. That's the entry point that we're going to be using. So that means also in package.json, that's what we're going to be using. Right, we're going to be using the slash app index.js. So that's the file that is used at the beginning when you start up your project. All right, that's it for this video, guys, and if you have any questions, just put your questions in the comments below. In the next video, we are going to be looking at migrations, because migrations sort of like gives us the flexibility of knowing which file has been changed and which structure has been changed. All right. So in the next video, we're going to be looking at migrations. Then we're gonna do a little bit of work on doing the structure of a student and actually running a migration and creating a table without touching the database on PHP admin or actually logging into MySQL. All right. Thank you.